are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Yes, to start off the show, I will say I am still feeling a little bit under the weather as I fix my camera just a little bit. I am feeling a little bit underneath the weather still, but we have a coaching search that we have to follow. Is it going to be Mike Bianco? Is no news good news? We will talk about that as well. Very quiet. It's very quiet out on the Ponderosa. It's very quiet out on the Diamond today. Hashtag Ask Blake. I will get to my SEC West rankings where I have the SEC West from 1 to 7. We will talk about that as well. Let's get into some football talk tonight, too. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. in a really interesting debate amongst LSU fans. Some have questioned, are they a better wide receiver duo than Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase? I will talk about that. I don't think that they are. We will talk about it. But we got to get to some of the comments, and then we will have to pay some bills, and then we'll get right into it. Dylan Landry says, let's go. Kirk Paul says, evening, fellas and ladies. It's going to be hot here in Omaha, 106 tomorrow night, or tomorrow hot, like NC State's Bats hot. Wow. Ryan Gidry says, and we are live, been witching all day, or been watching the clock all day long. I like it. And Ryan also says, Woodward, go get us the right coach. I think that he will. The good thing is, and I do have to thank everybody that is an avid AYS listener. Thank you from the bottom of my heart as we have hit the 1,000 subscriber milestone. The 1,000 subscriber milestone on YouTube. So that's very, very exciting to be able to hit that. Blaine Smith brings up on Facebook Live, Stan Van Gundy fired. I like Johnny Bryant or Sam Cassell as a replacement for the Pelicans. Hashtag Ask Blake, who do you think the Pelicans head coach should be? One that makes them relevant that we can actually talk about them on this damn show. If you don't remember, about a year ago, maybe, when they hired Stan Van Gundy, and I said I will never cover the Pelicans while Stan Van Gundy is the new head coach. He's fired, so now we'll be able to talk about it. And Jamie Hodge says, hashtag Ask Blake, is Vitello even an option? Probably. Keep hearing folks say he isn't being discussed. Yeah, there's some older brass who think he's an asshole, and I kind of talked about that last night about, so what, Tony Vitello's an asshole. So is Nick Saban. Doesn't really matter if he's an asshole if he wins. Just my opinion. All right, let's do this. Let's pay some bills around this thing, and we'll get to some more comments and some more talk about in the show. But, guys, you got to head over to Denham Springs, Louisiana, over to my good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. GM Varno & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend, Mr. Blake Ruffino at AYS, sent you on by. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Our friend Kurt Paul just talked about how hot it is outside, and nobody's hotter right now than Bet Online. Guys, with the mobile betting app about to be available in the state of Louisiana, you got to check Bet Online out. Visit the website today. Use your mobile device to join. It's free to sign up, and you'll get 50% off your welcome bonus on that first deposit. So before the next tip-off, face-off pitch, go to betonline.ag and start playing today. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right. Yes, Nookie says Blake kicked the Rona's ass. How do I say this? I tested negative, as I told you guys yesterday, for the coronavirus. I'll tell you this. I feel fine. When I say I feel under the weather, it's just I can't breathe. You know, I got a sinus infection. I just I can't breathe. So, with that being said, COVID-19, sinus infection, or Rudy Poo. I really am excited to see everybody on YouTube joining in because we just hit that 1,000 subscribers. Jason Morgan sent us some stars on Facebook. Thank you, Jason. We greatly appreciate that, my friend. Tony Vaughn says the Tennessee coach will win a World Series and become the LSU coach. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Look, so if you haven't heard a little bit of the latest, something that we talked about last night and something that we heard is coming into fruition today is that Mike Bianco did speak with their athletic director today. I have reached out. I have talked to. I have called. I have texted multiple people at Ole Miss, multiple people that cover Ole Miss, and nobody seems to know shit. Now, I do feel like that if Mike Bianco were going to be the next coach, that what does the AD at Ole Miss have? Like, what does he owe Mike Bianco? I feel like he would let that kind of rip a little bit. I feel like he'd let that rip. So why is it so close to chest? He doesn't have to let it, if he's leaving for LSU, what does Ole Miss have to hold back on? They would need to get that out in the open so that he could go out there and start making some coaching hires. That he could go out there and start looking for his coach. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me on if he met with the AD and it went bad today, that Ole Miss would hold that. Now, if it went good and they did give Mike Bianco an extension offer, it would make sense that they would hold off because the fan base would be upset if they gave Mike Bianco an extension when some of them feel that he should be on the hot seat, right? Excuse me, guys. Hold on one second. I did not want to blow my nose on the air. So, might be hitting that mute button a couple times. I am sorry, guys. But we are fighting through it. Bunny says, #AskBlake, what about Andy Canizero? Guys, I can't say this enough. And Bunny, this isn't to you. This has just been a question that we've been asked multitudes of times. There's three. Let's end. You know what? I'm going to clip this. So we're at the 10 to 50 mark. Okay, I'm going to clip this and put it out there. I probably shouldn't. It's probably not going to mean anything, but I want to put this out there because I keep filming the question every single night, every single day on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Blake, what about Andy Canizero? Guys, LSU can't afford to hire Andy Canizero for the Title IX issues. The Les Miles paying a woman to be quiet, allegedly. Well, actually, it's not even allegedly. Paying a victim hush money so that she won't say anything. Like, we know that happened. So now you want to hire Andy Canizero, who was texting a woman in the dugout at Mississippi State and was having an affair on his wife? I mean, there's a lot of other things that was going on with Andy Canizero. The cocaine, the strip clubs. I mean, there's a lot of things that was going on with Andy Canizero. We can't afford to bring him here. You can leave him at Holy Cross. It's kind of funny. Hey, Blake, he can go to a Catholic school. But he can't be the head coach at LSU. God bless Jesus. Name of the Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Look, I'm just calling it what it is. He can't be here. And the truth is he's never done anything outside of that. So there's no way, no how that Andy Canizero is the next head coach at LSU. Zero. Not the next one. So, Bundy, that's not to you. That's to all the multitudes of fans, LSU fans, who have constantly asked me, Blake, what about Andy Canizero? Guys, it's not going to happen. Stop asking. That's like some people who defended Pat Casey online, on Facebook and to Twitter to me. Guys, we've gone down the Pat Casey rabbit hole too much. I'm not getting back into that one. I'm not bringing that Rudy Poo up anymore. Lance says, what about O'Connor at Virginia? Was he a real option? I haven't heard anything on that one, Lance. I haven't heard about O'Connor at Virginia at all. Ryan Guidry says this comment is as bad as another smokescreen comment. Well, guys, I'm going to tell you something. I texted this to my very close friends today. One, I'm about to bring his comment up, and he won't mind me telling him this, but this is just my thoughts. Guys, something smells really fishy about this Mike Bianco hire. Now, look, we're still trying to gather information, but what's the wait? You know, I heard from and I talked about this last night and a lot this week. I talked to former Skip players who are allegedly close with Mike Bianco, and I think that they are. And they told me that it's a done deal. They told me last week it was a done deal. Then what the hell are we waiting for on a Wednesday? Like Wednesday at 7? Like what the hell are we waiting for? Because you could have announced this already. Let's not act like that this hasn't happened in a Scott Woodward regime before. Chris Peterson wanting to go to Washington because of the Children's Hospital. Jimbo wanting out because his ex-wife is a hassle. Kim Mulkey wanting to come home. Like we know all of that. But Mike Bianco could want to come home too. So what's the wait for? Begs the question if it's a smokescreen. Guys, I'm hearing some things about Mike Bianco. And it seems as if, I heard some things today that some of his representatives, let me say this. I did hear today that a Mike Bianco representative was in Baton Rouge today. I don't think that I necessarily believe that. Again, I get one thing from one source and another thing from another. And I'm trying to kind of pretty much ask them both questions. And this person says, yes, it's going to happen. This person says, no, it's going to happen. I'm just telling you the truth. Now, tomorrow, both of them can align and say it's going to happen. And both of them can align and say it's not going to happen. But right now, I'm not going to run out from one person who says, yes, it's happening. Or two people. Not on this one. Not on this one, unless it's Jesus himself. Speaking of Catholic churches, unless it's Jesus, Scott Woodward, I'm not going to run it right now. Let's see. Mike Scarborough, who I've told this to, says, what in the wild world of sports is going on in here? Nothing much. Guys, you can go check out Mike and Buddy Sonji after our show. They can go over to TigerBait.com. They'll be doing a show too. And I wonder, I think Mike said he's got a rant in store for tonight. So if you like a Ruffino's rant, you might get a Scarborough one. Tiki Tacky Taco says, welcome to monetization, big fella. 5K up next, AYS 5K. I like that. We actually, yes, we did get monetization on YouTube. We actually have been monetized on Facebook for a little while, which is really cool. So we get a little something on Facebook, but it's really cool that we're growing. I'm excited. Ryan Thibodeau says some Rudy Poo-ness at Mike. Ha 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 ha. Blake Doucette says hashtag as Blake. One team, one podcast. Posted today from the parking lot of Alex Box with a Tahoe they said has Mississippi plates. Any truth to that? I'm going to leave that one alone. I know where this came from, and I'm going to leave that one alone. No, let me say this. Nobody came with Mississippi plates that was sitting in Alex Box. Come on, bro. Come on. They also said, Kevin, look, I like Matt Anderson. Seems like a good dude. Don't know really anything about him. Forget the other kid's name. Didn't happen. Mo Funky, I like to say Rudy Poo. I do like to say Rudy Poo. Hopefully YouTube doesn't make me stop. Paul Bad says, I just got off Houston traffic. Houston drivers are Rudy Poos. Yeah, I could bet. You know, the worst traffic I've ever been in, and Paul, you could probably attest to this. I don't know if Houston's worse than Georgia, but guys, getting in and out of Atlanta is Rudy Poo. God, it's horrible. Charlie Viator says, hashtag bring the nerd. I want hashtag bring the nerd. Give me Corbin. Don't give me Bianco. What you bring it? What you know, I had people telling me all last week that, and this week, that Tim Corbin's a nerd. Well, that nerd kicks everybody's ass. We're going to have Mike Bianco? Mike seems like a great guy. He's not a winner. Blanket wins 16-14 inside the SEC. And your point? Mike Bianco? If Mike Bianco never played at LSU, we wouldn't give two Rudy Poos about that man. Everybody wants to say this. Go on radio, go on podcasts and say this shit. No, you don't want Mike Bianco. How about that? How about those apples? Bullshit, you don't. Or you do. You want it because he went to LSU. Does somebody have to yell at you to understand? It's like saying Larry Coker and Ed Orgeron are the same, and Matt Moscona running out there saying some bullshit. Mike Bianco. I'm going to eat my words one of these days. That man's going to be the next coach at LSU, and he's going to win a national title, and I'm going to have to eat some serious crow. Guys, Mike Bianco, don't give me the bullshit about resources. Every time I talk to somebody and somebody says this, Ole Miss didn't have the resources, I swear to God I hang up. Every single time. Don't give me that shit. Tennessee did not give Tony Vitello resources. He's got them now. You build something. Yes, he's a great. Look, Mike Bianco's a good coach. He's got him to a lot of super regionals. He's got him to a College World Series. That's it. That's it. You know who else didn't have resources? Skip Bertman. You know who else had? Well, I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to leave that one alone because it's not going to do it. It's really tough to talk about football programs that don't have the resources, but every great coach that came from a low-tier program and raised them above into a pinnacle. I hate to use football coaches. Clemson wasn't shit before Dabo. They had a long stretch of being just cake eaters. Dabo came and they won. So what now? Mike Bianco? Chris Barnhill says, hashtag bring the nerd. David says, hashtag ask Blake, who's your pick? Don't know if you've answered this. No, I haven't. I've kind of mentioned and tiptoed around Tony Vitello. I think it is kind of a, I mean, I want a guy, if the only way that I would not pick Tim Corbin is if he said no. And I have not heard from anybody that Tim Corbin has told us no. Nobody's told me that. Nobody's told me that. So Preston says, this is going to end up like the DC search, isn't it? We settle for the fourth pick after being turned down. Something's up. No, I don't think that this is the DC coaching search. And here's my thinking about that. I think that I do think that there's been some shitty reporting on this one. Right? I do think that there's been some very shitty reporting on this one. Some say that there is, some say that there isn't, but how do I want to say this? When you go out there and say it could be a guy, you better be damn freaking sure. Like damn freaking sure. But, you know, there's a lot of times I haven't run a story first. A lot of times. The times that I did and I knew that I was right is because I worked the shit out of it. I didn't just get a simple text. Somebody sent me a text, Blake, it's happening. Bullshit. I don't trust one person to break a story on. Why would I? I got a text, it's so-and-so. I talked to this coach, he says it's so-and-so. And then we write a little article about it in a little blog, whoopity-frickity-doo. And nothing's come of it. Kevin O'Sullivan's not the head coach. Pat O'Sullivan, the guy that covered up sexual offender, is not the coach. And Mike Bianco hasn't accepted the job yet. I told you Monday, and I told you Tuesday that nobody had confirmed to me that Mike Bianco has been given an offer. And to this exact moment, I don't know if he's gotten an offer yet. So we'll see. We'll see. Blaine says, get your popcorn ready for LSU coaching hires. I agree with that. Paul Bad says, Moscona got triggered. I called him out on Kendall Rogers' tweet thread for defending Casey. He was texting me. He was so triggered. Interesting. Mike Scarborough says he's alone tonight. We'll get you a lady friend, dog. I'm just joking. I guess Buddy Sonji's not with him tonight. Buddy Sonji's not with him. I thought he would be. A lot of people in here saying bring the nerd. Scott says bring the nerd. Johnny Johnson says remember Smug Laval. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Smug Laval went to 2 College World Series and we fired him. Shannon says bring the nerd. Ryan Thibodeau says Blake and Tony can race down Skip Berkman Drive. If I'm a reason that man gets hired, then sure. And Ethan Doyle says hashtag bring the nerd. Jamie Hodges says Jake Gautreaux. I wouldn't mind Jake Gautreaux. Gautreaux. Paul Bad says the Tahoe and Alex Box parking lot reminds me of Spurrier was found eating with Joe Dean at TJ Ribs. No, blacked out Tahoe drove from Oxford, Mississippi, and met with somebody at Alex Box. There's not a meeting spot at Alex Box. There's not a meeting spot. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I got to blow my nose. Hopefully the podcast doesn't hear that. I know the stream can't. Oh, well. Kenny says Jacob Hester and T-Bob Abear were laughing at Moscona when comparing him to Coker. Well, they should. It's the worst comment that any sports reporter, radio guy has ever said. Fig Fever says, no thanks. We're all grown-ups here. No need to talk like we're children. What did I say? Chris Barnhill says, wrong. You're underestimating Scott. Maybe. Adam Hunt says, O did come from Ole Piss and win a natty. He didn't technically come from Ole Piss. He came from USC. He came from LSU. He didn't come from Ole Piss. He didn't come from Ole Miss straight to LSU. That didn't happen. Speaking of football, I did do my my top 7 rankings. I think I'm going to put this out there, but this is my rough draft so far. I'll probably do it before the beginning of the season. But I just want to give a update of what I think that the SEC could look like for this upcoming season. I do have Mississippi State dead last. Dead last in the SEC. I don't think that they're good. I think teams are going to be able to adapt to Mike Leach and everything that they're doing. I don't think that they have the recruits. I don't think that they have the depth. And quite honestly, I think that they're going to lose a lot of games this year. Number 6, I do have Arkansas. I do think that they've gotten better, but they have an inexperienced quarterback. They do have some good coordinators, but I still think that they're going to be struggling a little bit with that. Number 5, and really 5 and 4, I feel like you can debate this, right? Because I feel like you could have the Ole Misses in there, but the truth is, I don't think that Ole Miss is going to be that low. I think that they're going to surprise some people. I really do think that they're going to surprise some people. And so, but I want to say this. So 3, 4, and 5, I do feel as if that you can kind of intermingle them outside of one team, and that's Auburn. I do think Auburn's going to be 5th in the SEC. But I do still feel like they have enough talent to make some shit happen and maybe win a game that they're not supposed to under a new coaching staff. Number 4, Texas A&M. I think A&M's just very overrated. Yeah, they got some good individual players, but I don't think that they have the depth. They lose a quarterback. They lose their entire offensive line pretty much, and they think that they're going to be good. You got to do it for more than one season for me to pick them. Number 3, Ole Miss. I think the Lane train is onto something here. He's got some very experienced guys. He's got new D coordinator, new D line coach, new O line coach. I think that they'll progress. And I'm going to flip a coin for LSU and Bama at the top. I do think Bama has a chance. We'll get into that debate a little bit more, but I do have LSU 1-2 in winning the SEC West. I did just have a question. People are messaging me, asking me about T-Bob, saying that about Matt Moscona this morning. See, dude, that's all day. That's all day long. People messaging me about Matt Moscona's shitty takes. Brian says, Moscona just can't let it go. Dude, you were wrong. Accept it and move on. Yeah, and where's Tom Herman? I mean, come on, man. Eat crow and move on. Kurt Paul says, if Bianco gets here, he's on a 2-year clock. Yeah, he might be on a 2-year clock, but, that's a little bit tough. I feel like you do got to give him 3. You got to let him get a whole kind of class in here, 2 or 3 classes in here to do his thing. Because this class that he has isn't his recruits, and the next class wouldn't be his recruits either, or would be his first-year recruits. Johnny Johnson says, what about Louisiana Tech's coach? I haven't heard anything about him at LSU. Absolutely nothing. Blake Doucette says, hashtag ask Blake, why do they look at past LSU players? If that's the case, just hire Hal Hughes for hitting coach. Yeah, I don't know. Brian says, hey, Blake, you want some hot sauce with that crow? LOL, just kidding. My crow? Oh, yeah, I might eat some crow. I might eat some crow with Mike Bianco, guys. I mean, I might. But you know what's good is that, look, I come out here, I'm passionate. At some point, I'm going to eat crow. At some point, I'm going to be wrong. I don't know. I'm going to be wrong. We'll see. But I would rather Tim Corbin over Mike Bianco. I think it would be hard for Tim Corbin to turn down the type of money that Scott Woodward rumored has offered him too. I think it would be hard. Some people have told me that it could be a lot of money, and so much more than what any other LSU baseball coach has made. And so why would he turn that money down? So go get him. Brandon Ruiz on Facebook says, hashtag bring the nerd or hashtag bring the asshole. Okay, Corbin and Vitello are the best options, period. I like that. I like it. I actually like it a lot. Look, I might be a little bit different. People could say they don't like Tony Vitello. He's a winner. I've said this again. Will Wade's an asshole. He is an asshole on the court. So is Tony V on the diamond. Kurt Paul says, if LSU doesn't get the coach by Friday, Corbin is a big game. If LSU doesn't get a coach by Friday, Corbin is the big game. Woodward is coming. Oh, I got what you're saying. Yeah, the big game hunter for sure. All right, let's do this. Let's take a very quick break. We'll get back to your comments. Guys, go see my good friend, Mr. John Patton, over at GMFS Mortgage. Guys, you're thinking about buying a new home, saving money on the mortgage that you have now, or even doing that cash out refi. The timing has never been better. Get over to GMFS Mortgage today. Give them a call at 225-614-1234. That's 225-614-1234. Or send them an email at jpatton@gmfslending.com. That's jpatton@gmfslending.com. Purchase, refinance, build, or renovate. GMFS, they can do it for you today. GMFS, they are changing lives. And guys, I've been talking about moinkbox.com for a couple of days now. Moinkbox, all of their specialty meats from pork, ribeye, steaks, burgers, bacon. And let's stop right there. Bacon. Guys, if you go to moinkbox.com/believe right now, all of the listeners to this show get a free bacon for a year with every box order. Free bacon for a year. Who wouldn't want free bacon for a year? And trust me, it's AYS certified and AYS good. moinkbox.com/believe. That's moinkbox.com/believe. Tell him your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. And my good friend Mr. Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220. That's 225-937-7220. Tell him your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by because he's going to give you the best looking yard in your neighborhood. That's Mr. Richie Roche. Paul Escon says, language, young man, a-hole, clean it up, brother. Maybe. Paul also says, if any former player was going to get the hitting coach, I would want Chris Reed. I agree with that one. Craig Granger says, crow ain't that bad if you cook it right. Okay. Craig, can you cook us some crow? I've got a crow. Guys, I might have to take off tomorrow if I keep feeling like this. Nookie says, gosh, we could have had Tom Herman or Jimbo. Gosh. Neither one of them have won a natty since Ed Orgeron's been the head coach at LSU. Paul Bent says, Bama and LSU in the West. Yeah, I think it's that. I mean, I do not buy A&M and or anybody. I don't buy that hype. I don't buy that hype. Y'all can hear me now. I don't buy that hype. Blake Two Set says, hashtag ask Blake, with the two best pitchers leaving, Corbin needs to look at options. With LSU and boosters, money is no option. Yeah, and it feels like that could be, an issue at Vanderbilt right now. Vanderbilt just spent $60+ million on their football renovations. He's not going to have a lot of money. Justin says, Tony V, a winner. He's had one good season. He's in the World Series. Guys, you do realize that Cliff Godwin and Tony Vitello has done about the same when it comes from a resume standpoint in less years than Mike Bianco. Yeah, Mike had gotten to so many super regionals. I get it. But Tony Vitello didn't have the resources. So if you're going to say, this is the argument I'm trying to make. If you're going to say that Mike Bianco didn't have resources, please give me your excuse for Tony Vitello. Please give me your excuse for Cliff Godwin. Please do it. Please do it. Because at the end of the day, they're an SEC team. Resources is not an issue. This isn't like Boise State, Nevada. This isn't some low UCF group of 5 school. This isn't ECU like Cliff Godwin's got. I mean, stop with the resources. Stop with the resources. It's just not true. If you want to give that excuse, it's just not true. You're making it's a lazy ass excuse. That's what it is. If you hire Mike Bianco and says, well, look at his resume, yada, 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 he didn't have the resources. I heard somebody today say, well, it's just LSU. Everything that you did in the past translates over to what you'll do in the future. Says whom? If you got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside half of the plate and you're trying to pull it in the left field, it doesn't matter that Skip Bertman won a national championship in 1992. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I get embarrassed. Y'all get me all fired up. Luke says, I'm sure it's fine with extra barbecue sauce like Andy Reid and good old JR would tell you. If you're talking about Crow, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Blaine Smith says, can you imagine Corbin with a great hitting coach? # dynasty. Well, he's got one now. I mean, what the hell do you think he's got now? Ryan Tidwell says, can't beat our meat. Oh, God. I should have read that one out loud. I should have read that before in my head before I put it out there. Brandon Ray says, if any other head coach in the SEC has something to prove this year, it's besides Coach O, it's Kirby. We start holding accountable in terms of finally delivering Georgia to a championship? Yeah, he's going to have to. We're going to do the SEC East next week, and we'll see. Paul Betts says LSU's D line is the best one since 2011. Blake, I agree with that one. We have some dudes. Paul, I can agree with that, man. Like I can agree with that. I could also agree, not just from upfront talent standpoint, but from the depth. You know, like from to 2s and 3s. I mean, it's just so deep along all the parts of the D line. I've seen this a couple times. Kenny says on Facebook Live, Omaha is Ole Miss at home again. The abbreviations. It's funny. That's funny. Brandon Dale DeVille says resources. LOL. Coastal Carolina won a natty, and I think that's the point, right? Like that's my point. That's the argument for Mike Bianco. Guys, you find resources if you're going to win. You'll have to find the resources. If I don't start feeling better, guys, I might not be able to do a show tomorrow. But yeah, don't tell me about resources. Do not tell me about resources. Guys, I'm out here battling. Richard Bruce says they need to chill on the resources excuse when teams like Coastal Carolina and Fresno State win titles. I agree. It's a lazy excuse and an excuse that people who probably don't understand what they're talking about, and they say that to make themselves feel good about the hire. Now, let me say this. Drew Bianco is probably my favorite player on LSU's team. And I'm split to say this, but I'm trying to be realistic. Let me say this. If and when, I should say, Mike Bianco is hired, the sky's not falling, right? Like the sky's not falling. He's a good coach. Maybe he can get him to win a national championship. Maybe he can get him to the World Series. But I'm so tired of this good old boy system that everybody seems to have. Paul Bett says Ole Miss is 4th in college baseball spending. Ole Miss has the resources. And that's the point. That's the point. Yes, he built it. Okay, but don't say any SEC school doesn't have the resources. People feel and think that Vandy doesn't have resources, which is the biggest lie because they got more resources technically than probably a lot of teams in the South. Couple more. We're going to get on out of here. I got to take some medicine. Holden Lee says, Blake, since Arkansas was a favorite to win it, who do you think takes it? I think Vanderbilt. Yeah, we talked about that last night. I like Vanderbilt or Tennessee. And I really like Stanford and Arizona too. Arizona can hit the shit out the ball. Ryan Timber says, now you know why I stay in Facebook jail. True. Well, I'm not going to report you. Somebody might. Bob says on Facebook, what do you think of the DBU coach? I like Hefner a lot. I think he's a winner. I think he can win here. Curveball says, try to switch gears. LSU's biggest or question will be at linebacker. That D line is sick. Yeah. One thing I wanted to get into before I left, I'm not sure if you saw this. Fox Sports talked about the best wide receiver duo in college football's history. And some LSU fans, I'm going to call them fans, debated if it should be Odell and Jarvis Landry. Guys, get out of here with that. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham aren't the best wide receiver duo in their team's history. 38 touchdowns by Chase and Jefferson in 2019. That seals the deal. Biletnikoff should seal the deal. One of Biletnikoff should have sealed the deal. National title. But let me say this. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Terrace Marshall, all these Thaddeus Moss, LSU had a bunch of other weapons outside of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, and they still got it done. Still got it done. Please stop with that argument. Please stop. All right, guys, we're going to get on out of here. Can't breathe. We beat the COVID. Screw it. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see you guys later, guys. Y'all have a good night. Peace out. Maybe we'll have a coach soon.